You're listening to the Auxiliary Gate Podcast, Kentucky's weekly horse racing discussion. And now, here are your hosts, Alan Schneider.
What am I supposed to do?
Oh, my gosh.
Brandon Jaggers.
I don't know. Just say something about concert tour.
And me, CC Broadus.
No, I didn't even see that race.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 46 of the Auxiliary Gate Podcast. I'm CC Broadus, joined by the king of Fern Creek himself, Alan Schneider.
They will not officially make me king of this town, but I'm going to keep trying until they do. How is everybody doing, by the way?
Missing right now is Brandon Jaggers. I believe he's still celebrating in the Matt Wynn room at Churchill Downs after our wonderful evening. Alan, the Matt Wynn room was very, very special. Matt Wynn Steakhouse, I should say, not the Wynn room. That was the old Churchill Downs, I suppose.
Oh my God, was it ever? I don't think I've eaten since. That place was magical. If you've never been to the Matt Wynn Steakhouse, guys, I mean, you need to go. That is the scenery, the service is impeccable. I mean, we could go on and we get the food. I could go on for days. So let's hope Brandon can pay his tab. They pick him up off the floor and he can join us here in a moment.
Yeah, he had a great day. Let's just put it that way, and not financially, but everything else. So let's get caught up on the Kentucky Derby picture while we're here. It's about 5 weeks before the Kentucky Derby. Two big prep races, actually 3 big Derby prep races this weekend with the Florida Derby and the UAE Derby in Dubai, and locally the Jeff Ruby Stakes, and that stakes spelled Steaks, but that will be run at Turfway Park on Saturday. Big Derby news over the weekend. What probably would have been the favorite, Life is Good, is out for about probably 4 to 6 months, maybe, with a hind end injury. And then it was announced today that Big Lake is off the Derby trail. Big Lake for Steve Asmussen, who ran third in the Rebel Stakes last weekend. So those two are out, but there was a big prep race at the fairgrounds. It was the Louisiana Derby, and that was won by Hot Rod Charlie, who basically went wire to wire. First, let's start, Alan, with Hot Rod Charlie. Let's get your analysis on the Louisiana Derby and in particular Hot Rod Charlie.
You know, it's kind of similar to what Rosario did the week before with Concert Tour. You knew it was a good sign that they were confident that they thought he would stay the distance when they sent him out of the gate like that. That's always a good sign to me. When you've got a horse that's a little questionable, but you know that the connections think they're the one that's going to win the race. They don't want to screw around. They send, and when they send him, I had a feeling he's going to be tough to pass. I thought it was a great effort. He moved up in my mind, and it was not a surprising win, but I think the way he won it surprised a lot of people, myself included.
He earned a 99 buyer, and now the Louisiana Derby is a mile and 3/16. I don't think there's any doubt in the world that this horse can get a mile and a quarter.
No.
Even though his half brother is Matoli, who was a champion sprinter, but his sire was Oxbow, and Oxbow won the Preakness. So, there's reasons to think that's a classy pedigree. So I think there's reasons to think Hot Rod Charlie could actually move forward in 6 weeks. Midnight Bourbon ran second, and Obesos was third. Obesos was really the only horse that closed any ground late in the game. The top two ran basically 1-2 all the way around the track. Obesos was rolling up the rail. He just barely missed second. What about first talk about Midnight Bourbon and then Obesos?
I have not given Midnight Bourbon enough love. I think personally, you always have to admit when you're wrong, or that. And I won't say that I've been wrong, but I have not given the horse the respect that he deserves. He shows up every time. Not flashy. It's got a great pedigree. And the race he ran on Saturday is a race he usually runs. It's a nice solid effort. The horse fits on Derby Day. The way since he brings it every time out, I wouldn't be surprised if he hit the exotics. He's still gonna be a good price on Derby Day. And how about Obesos? How about our buddies Brian Bernard and the Foleys? That horse almost got second, which would lock him a spot in the Kentucky Derby. But I think he might have enough points to get in as of this day, depending on how these prep races pan out. That was a big run by Obesos. He improved his second time routing. He kind of stayed the mile and 3/16 too, which is always a good sign. So horses learning how to route, got a lot of upside. I'm happy Obesos may get into the starting gate of the Kentucky Derby.
And then let's talk about the disappointments of the race. Proxy and Mandaloon. Proxy from the Stidham barn for Godolphin, and Mandaloon from the Brad Cox stable for Juddmonte. Proxy finished fourth, probably beaten roughly 4 lengths. Mandaloon was no factor whatsoever. What about those two moving forward?
I got to be honest with you. The Proxy got a lot of touting during the week, a lot of love that I didn't really understand. I thought he was getting too much hype. Maybe had the weight of too many people picking on his shoulders. I thought it was a flat effort just because he was getting blinkers. Never really ran that fast, in my opinion. So I'm not really surprised by Proxy's effort. I'm a little more surprised by Mandaloon's effort. Not that I think Mandaloon was a top-notch Kentucky Derby tender, but he was completely empty in the drive, completely empty. So empty, in fact, you almost wonder if something went wrong because the horse should not have stopped like that. I can understand the horse not winning, but the way he was the tank was on E halfway down the fairground stretch was a little surprising. Be interesting to see if they're going to move forward with him to the first Saturday in May. I have to think after that if they may not, but, I mean, we'll see.
Well, yeah, remember these horses aren't running on Lasix, so, there's a chance the horse bled.
Completely agree.
But, we don't know that. And I would think maybe if Cox brings him back, maybe in the Arkansas Derby or the Lexington, maybe that would be a good time to bet the horse because maybe we do know something was wrong.
Right.
And they possibly fix the problem. So, all right. So the big race in Kentucky this weekend is the Jeff Ruby Stakes, formerly the Spiral Stakes, formerly the Jim Beam, formerly the Gallery Furniture, formerly the Lanes Inn, and on and on and on. So now it's the Jeff Ruby Stakes, and we're going to interview a couple connections from that race this weekend. First, we're going to have Chris Landeros, who will be aboard Gretzky the Great, and then we'll have trainer Bill Morey, who trains Hush of a Storm, who won the John Battaglia Memorial Stakes a few weeks ago. Both those gentlemen will do battle on Saturday, and Alan is going to have our first guest.
All right, everybody. We had our next guest on the show back in December when it became obvious he was igniting a spark at the Turfway Park meet. And now 3+ months later, that spark that turned into an inferno as he has stayed white hot all meet. He'll look to cap his stellar meet Saturday with the win in Turfway's signature race, the Jeff Ruby Stakes aboard Gretzky the Great. Of course, I'm talking about our pal, Chris Landeros. Chris, how are you doing on this fine spring day here in Kentucky?
Oh, good, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. Again, when we have you back, that means we really like you. And you've had a heck of a meet at Turfway, and I mean it's eye-catching, the numbers, quite frankly. I'm going to run through them here real quick. Just one little thing. 109 starters this meet. You haven't rolled as much as some of the other guys, but you have knocked out 28 wins in 24 seconds. That's 50%. You realize that? Did you know that? Did you know you're doing that well, Chris?
I didn't know how many I rode or how many I won, but I knew we were doing pretty well for ourselves. And it's a team effort. I'm very blessed from the start of my agent helping us get them organized, and from the support from trainers and owners. And the main thing is the horses that are putting out for me 100%. I mean, they're giving me their all. Horse is what makes us and what makes everybody and what makes us this game go around. So I'm very blessed for that.
So yeah, feel free to give Brody Wilkes a shout out. Right, he's your agent, correct?
Yeah, Brody's doing a great job. He's my agent. We started working with each other in October, Keeneland in the fall. It's been fun. Brody's been a friend of mine. He's family to me, but we're pretty good about it. We put business and business and family and friendship, 3 separate things. And It's fun. It's good. It's a good learning curve for him, and it's fun for me to see him. Actually, he's developed a lot. It's pretty funny to see. I mean, I'm very happy with him. Very proud of him.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, now that it's almost over, the meet's coming down to under the wire. Is it safe to say you're happy with the decision you made to stay in Kentucky over the winter? I mean, I'm guessing your wife and kids are pretty happy. I can hear your son in the background. He seems like he's pretty happy about it.
Yeah, that's my son. We're going for a walk right now, so I'm trying to get him away out of his mom's hair for a little bit.
Understood.
And I need to do a little walking myself. It's a day off, so I need to get my air in me. I'm happy with the decision. As much as I loved Florida and the Miami weather and atmosphere, it was just more of a decision that we had to make early in the fall. I had to start over, and we had to go from the base and the bottom, and we had to figure out a way. How are we going to get back going and get back in the groove of things? And this seemed to be a good fit, with Cassie, Rudolph Brissett, Ian Wilkes, Jonathan Thomas staying, names like that. I mean, like I said, guys, I'm just so blessed to be in that position of getting the opportunities early on in the meet where it got me to a good start. There's so many guys that can do the job just as good as me. I was just very grateful for the opportunity, and we took advantage of it, and it's been leading up. It's snowballed, and we're just hoping that it can carry on into the spring. We're very excited, looking forward to it. In the end, yeah, I mean, I think it was the best decision for this time. Turfway's only going to get better, I can see, from what I've heard. So, everyone's been asking, you think you'll come back next year? My options are wide open. I'm not opposed to it. I know one thing, I sure did like being home with my family every night. I really, really did enjoy that. It was a good time. It was a little cold. We're not used to that, but we adapted fast and we made the most of it. So I had a good winter, and I'm very pleased with the decision.
You actually touched on a couple little topics right there I'm going to ask you about. I'll go ahead and hit you with this one first. But my untrained eye, I mean, I'm 50 years old, 51 years old, I guess. And but to my untrained eye, and CC and I discuss this often, is how confident that you seem every race. I mean, it's like your horse is in the right spot every time. You push the button at the right time. Is that a fair representation? You believe how you're riding it right now, how you're seeing the ball? Is that close?
I've been in both spots where it's like in every sport, guys.
Amen.
It's like Tiger Woods when he's rolling. Gosh, he's just unstoppable on those 4-foot putts, right?
Right.
But then we all know on TV, he's a little shaky today. I don't know, and he starts getting the yips a little bit. It's like riding. We get in a groove. We try to keep it going. I feel like when you're in a groove, it feeds off to horses. And I've been on both ends, I've made some mistakes in the past where I felt like I caused the horse to run for their full potential. But I've been in this position where I'm at now where things are kind of in a nice groove, and I feel like I might give a little edge to them and keep pushing them through to the wire. So it's nice, it's a good feeling. It's nice to know also that that you're riding on a little bit of stock and a little bit of steam in this particular race. So you can go out there and ride with the confidence that they're going to sustain that speed throughout the race, so you can put them in a position. So I think it's everything, every bit of it, the full circle.
I will tell you this, Chris, on behalf of Brandon, Cece, and so many others, that same up and down thing goes to horse players too. Sometimes we feel like we're in the zone.
Of course, yeah.
And other times we can't buy one. So I know exactly what you mean. But you did mention Jonathan Thomas a moment ago, and this has to be brought up. This meet brought out a third certainty in life. There's death, there's taxes, and Chris Landeros and Jonathan Thomas winning together when they hit together. I think you're like 8 for 11 together. If I'm not right on that, I'm pretty close.
It's got to be close. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and you have really ridden some really, really nice young horses for the Augustin stable. You look really good in that green and white, by the way. What's it been like to ride Cadillacs like Into Vanishing, Cyranus? I mean, I can't remember all of them, but man, there's some really nice looking three-year-olds, I should say.
Yeah, it's like a kid in the candy store. You go to the jock room knowing you're going to ride one or two or three of those a day. I mean, you're just delighted and so excited. I mean, Jonathan, great horseman. I can't say any more. I mean, he's a great person too. Great to talk with, work with. if there's something, we talk about it, and he's just so understanding. I mean, it's unbelievable. Just a great person. His help is just, I mean, off the charts. Stu does his work as an assistant while Jonathan's in New York or Maryland taking care of his other strings. I mean, it takes a team, from the grooms to the assistant to the head boss. I mean, they got a great network, a great system. I'm just blessed to be a part of it. I mean, they have some good horses that just fit so well. And, my job is just to try to get them in a good position and show that they're the best horse. And we've been grateful and very lucky. We've been very lucky in some spots. And, like I said, guys, my hat's off to their whole team. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, you mentioned the cold weather, and you mentioned Jonathan Thomas. That brings me to my next question. The last time you were on the show, we talked about how you came from California, and riding in the snow and the bitter cold is something you're not really familiar with. But ironically, it was a Jonathan Thomas horse, if I'm not mistaken, that you rode in a blinding snowstorm. It actually went viral. People across the country saw it. You rode Till Then, and the rest of us watching the race didn't know what was going on. I assumed you won. The horse laid over the field. But what was it like riding in a blinding snowstorm? For those of us who'll never do it, how hard is it?
I don't know, guys. I thought I was in a dream in a fairyland or something. I didn't know what was going on. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. In the post parade, it wasn't that bad. And then the sooner we got closer to the gate, I mean, it just started coming down. And I'm like, no one's really panicking except for me. I'm like, oh shit, I better get my stuff together. I was a little worried. Like, oh, I better play my role here, act like I'm used to this, because I was not used to it. I was just on a good horse who took me around there like a pro, and he was bound to win that day. And it was getting a little hard to see a little bit, like from the half home, I think because of the way the wind was blowing. But the rail opened up, I remember, and all I could see was that little position right there. I said, I'm taking it. I'm the favorite here. I'm going. And I took it, and he led me home. And yeah, that was pretty cool. The craziest thing about that race, and I was telling my wife when I got on the way home that night, I said, what was crazy is I couldn't even see the outriders where they pull up at.
Really?
They usually pull up like around the 3/4 pole to help us with horses that, don't necessarily want to pull up. And I could only hear their voice. Hey, we're right here. Hey, we're right here. But I couldn't see them. That's how hard the snow was falling that day.
Yeah, you're 1 for 1 in the snow now, so congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So that was kind of a cool moment. I never seen snow like that before, though. It was a fun race. I enjoyed it. I had to suck it up though and go with it because I was not used to that.
Yeah. For those who don't know, that it was a weekday card at Turfway. I think they canceled the races directly after that race. And I watched the race, and no one knew who won the race till about 20 yards from the wire when we saw Chris until then. But we had no idea what was going on. Just like apparently you kind of did, but the rest of us didn't. But enough about this stuff. We've got to talk about the big one on Saturday, the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway. It's their signature race. It's a Derby prep. It's worth 100 points at Derby points this year. It's a race that's been several different names over the years. And Mr. Landeros here has a mount on one of the better horses in the races named Gretzky the Great. This horse is big, has a big chance for Mark Casse. And just have to ask you, Chris, what do you think about the horse? Have you been on the horse? Do you think he has as strong a chance as some of us do? Or tell us what you know about Gretzky the Great.
Yeah, well, I remember watching Gretzky over like the summer and the fall, winning at Woodbine in those nice turf races and the stakes. And man, he was a name to watch out for, and just watching him run, and even in the Breeders' Cup. And it was always cool to see him run. And when I was approached that I had the opportunity to ride him, I just jumped on it. I thought it was a great opportunity, and I'm very thankful for Mark and his owners and the connections all involved to get the opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. I've worked him the last couple Saturdays, and he's worked really well, and he's moving really nicely. And Mark and his team have him ready to go, and we're looking for a big run out of him.
I mean, it's a pretty solid field. I don't know everyone who's in yet, but there's Hush of a Storm for William Morey, who we've got coming up in a little bit. There's Hard Ride Guy. There's Tarantino, who I was unaware was going to be in the. It's a really good field, so you're going to have your running shoes on to win that one. But I like your chances here. But I've monopolized the conversation enough. I like to throw in my buddies here. CC, Brandon, what do you have for our pal Chris Landeros?
Well, first of all, Chris, I want to congratulate you on a big meet. My role in the sport is relegated to a horse player, but as a horse player, there's nothing more I appreciate than consistency, and
Yeah.
I've noticed that through the whole meet. You've ridden consistently. You've given your all every single time, and I commend you for what you've accomplished this meet, and going forward, we're going to follow you and root for you every single time. I think you're a great person, and you're a credit to the sport. So first of all, congratulations for that.
Man, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My question for you is, in California today, the California Horse Racing Board they tabled a proposition to potentially fine jockeys up to 50% of their earnings if they exceeded the new whip rule. Thankfully, they're not going to go through with that. But I wanted your comment, or just a comment on what you think of the whip rules in California. I think you're allowed 6 underhanded strikes, and you can only do 2 at a time before the horse responds. Give me comments on something on that rule, and how that would affect your riding.
Yeah, guys, it's a tough situation for those guys out there right now. I'm glad we don't have it here. I'm glad we don't have it here. I would be a little worried about even myself. I use the whip. I need it. I feel like it's more of a encouragement, and sometimes it's to guide them. I mean, I understand we can guide them with our reins and whatnot, but for example, at Turfway, I've had a lot of horses. They hit that top of the lane for some rhyme or reason. They want to stop and kind of stall a little bit at the top of the lane, and if I didn't have my whip, I can't say I'd run first, second, or third in some of them races. I really believe in that. I'm sticking to it. I'm very lucky that we're able to use it when we need to. I just feel like it's hurting us. I think we need to come up with something, whether it's as many strikes but let us do our job. We also have owners that put up a lot of money for these races and put a lot of money into it to get them to the races. And if we can't do our job for them, I don't know. I mean, I just can't fathom not using my stick but getting beat by a head, whether it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. I just can't imagine not giving my all for that owner. I don't like that feeling. So I want to go out there with every opportunity I can. But
Chris, I had a couple. Just that you're going to be pretty busy the next couple days. Wednesday's kind of a light day for you, but a nice allowance race. But then you're back in action. Pretty heavy the remainder of the week. But can you tell us a little bit about some of the rides besides Gretzky the Great? Because obviously, I think Gretzky came third in the Battaglia Stakes that night, and just curious, do you plan to do anything different with him?
Well, I haven't seen entries out yet. We'll find out tomorrow what kind of posts we draw, and I don't want to get over. I don't want to overthink it. I know he's fast. I know he's athletic, and I know he's a good horse. I want to see what kind of posts we draw, and talk to Mark and his crew and see what they think is our best option to get him in a position or wherever they would like him to be, and we just go from there. We just got to take one day at a time. It's not until Saturday. I still got a lot of races ahead of me before then.
Oh, yeah.
My job is to win as many as I can. So, yeah, tomorrow I got a nice light day. I'll have a big workout day tomorrow. I'll work out for 2 hours pretty hard, and then go ride a horse for Ian Wilkes, and then we'll move on to the next day. But as we get closer, I'll kind of drum up a little bit of a game plan, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, it seemed like the run line in the Battaglia was, straight to the lead, and then I think the horse just got a little tired up front and lost it by, not very much. So, but we wish you well with that mount, and Any of the Jonathan Thomas entries that we should take a pen and paper to, because you've got several coming up. A lot of them are maiden claims, but anything you want to note either this week or over the weekend?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really know what's going on in the middle of the week. I just know about the big stake day on Saturday. I believe I'm going to be on one of his fillies for the Oaks, the Bourbonnette Oaks. So that'll be fun. I think it's going to be Into Vanishing. I'm almost
positive that horse
on
is like $1 million. I love that horse.
Into Vanishing. Yeah. She's coming in good form. Got a couple wins over the track and still running a little green, but man, that's a good thing because there's a little room for improvement, and we got to improve going into a race like this. So I'm really looking forward to it. That's another one I've been working on the last couple Saturdays at Turfway. It's been all good. Everything's going well, and him and his team will have him ready to go. I think that's it for Jonathan on Saturday, I believe.
Okay.
From what I'm hearing, I think Be Here may run in a other than allowance, but I think that's about it for Saturday for us, for me and Jonathan.
Who else are you working out in the mornings with on those Fridays or Saturday mornings?
Usually it's Saturday, and they consist of like Jonathan Thomas, Rudolph Brissett, Mark Cassie.
Okay.
Good supporters. Yeah, it's been fun. Sunday I actually had to go to Keeneland. So that was a nice scenery.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. So.
Hey, we're going to be looking for you at Keeneland especially too. That's going to be so close, and we're going to take the pod on a road trip, so we'll hopefully see you there and riding too.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Keeneland's it's my favorite track in the whole country. So when you drive to Keeneland, your juices get flowing a little differently. It's just something about the place. I can't explain it. The only thing I can say is maybe it's like a baseball player going to like Yankee Stadium or something. I don't know what it is. It's just you get a different feel, and I'm super excited. I just hope to be in contention for some wins, and we'll make the most out of it.
Yeah, I can't believe it's almost opening weekend. I'm going to probably be there on Friday and Saturday, I hope. And
same here. We're looking for you, Chris. We're going to be looking for you.
We'll be looking for you, and I've got a filly on the backside there too. She's probably never going to be able to start for that meet, but as soon as Keeneland or Churchill starts up, she'll probably get in. But
that's
just
great.
So exciting. I mean, you're right. It's like the Field of Dreams there. Out of that movie and stuff. When you get that, it's something different happens in your blood, and we wish you the best, and we're going to find you when we get there.
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, it'd be a fun meet, a tough meet, but tough is good. Competition is good. It brings the best out of you.
Yeah, Chris. Speaking of, I'll wrap this up here. I'll let you get back to your son and your walk, but along those lines with Keeneland, I'll just wrap it up with this. Something I've actually wondered from jockeys in particular, but since I have you here, just a general question. How tough is it to mentally, I guess, and physically switch gears from the end of one meet to another? Because we've got Turfway ending, we've got Keeneland starting. So what I mean is, for instance, you've been riding on synthetic at just a couple of distances. Turfway doesn't run that many different distances. But you go to Keeneland, you're going to have turf routes, you're going to have turf sprints, you're going to have 7 furlong races, you're going to have baby races going 4.5 furlongs, the short stretch at 8.5 furlongs. Is there a mental component to that? Do you have to get yourself psyched? Do you have to be thinking all the time? How does that work? I mean,
I think you have to definitely be mentally ready for it. Whether it's, the short stretch or we're going to, go off the 7/8 shoot. It's different. We have to be mentally ready for it. Try to get our horses in position the best we can and give them a shot to win. We got to do our homework for sure. It's definitely a change of pace. There's no doubt about it.
I've always wondered that when you guys go from one track to another. I mean, it's a different ballgame. They all have different nuances and so on and so forth. So I'll know on one thing. I'll be watching. Where the winner's circle at. That's all that really matters as long as you find that. Again, Chris, this has been great as always. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, how big fans we are, and we are pulling for you with Gretzky the Great and Into Vanishing on Saturday. So we wish you the best of luck and hope you have a safe trip and get home first, pal.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, everybody, that was Chris Landeros. Definitely a podcast favorite for sure, and we wish him all the best over the weekend in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Now, our next guest tonight has taken Turfway Park by storm. As of today, he's tied for second with Mark Cassie for number of victories at the Florence, Kentucky Oval, with 11 wins out of 36 starters since January 1st, including a victory by a hush of a storm in the John Battaglia Stakes, which is now a Kentucky Derby points race. This Saturday, Hush of a Storm will try to stake his claim to a Kentucky Derby starting gate spot by winning the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway. He's the conditioner of many of my Turfway Park favorites this winter, including Visitant, On Deck, and Pico de Oro, but he was also the trainer that developed Greatest Stakes winner Ollie's Candy and oversaw her victory in the Summertime Oaks back in 2018. With horsemanship in his blood, our guest has made a name for himself on our Kentucky circuit, and now it's time to get to know him personally. Our second guest tonight on the Auxiliary Gate podcast is trainer Bill Morey.
Bill, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, Bill, you've been on the Kentucky circuit for a relatively short time now. How's the stay been so far?
We love Kentucky. My wife and I moved to Lexington almost 2 years ago now. All of a sudden, it was in May. It'll be 2 years. And I've been training in Kentucky now for about a year and a half. We love Kentucky. We especially love Lexington. And we had spent time back here before coming back to the yearling sales at Keeneland and Fasig-Tipton. And I actually had been to Turfway years ago as well. I won the Battaglia back in 2011 with a horse named Positive Response.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We actually stayed that year for which was then called the Spiral. We stayed a good month or 5 weeks waiting for the Spiral, and we actually went off favored over Animal Kingdom in the Spiral, if you can believe that. And then of course, Animal Kingdom went on to win the Spiral and the Derby, and we went home and with our tail between our legs. But it was so I've been around here. We've been here full time now, almost 2 years, and we love it.
So, how many horses do you have in training right now?
Right now, I have 28. I have 11 at Turfway and 17 at Keeneland.
11 at Turfway, 17 at Keeneland. Okay. So what's your long-term plan? Is it to stay Kentucky year-round going forward, or would you consider going south for the winter? Do you have any idea yet?
Well, we're taking it month by month. Obviously, we've had a really good winter here, and that's helped things a little bit business-wise. I'm going to split between Keeneland and Churchill for April, May, and June. And then Churchill's going to close for the summer to put in a new turf course, which is actually exciting, good news. But they are going to close, though, for stabling for July and August. So that's going to put a cramp on everybody. But it's going to send me to Del Mar for the summer with at least a few, if not a sizable string. So I'll be Keeneland, Churchill, Del Mar, and then probably back to Churchill in September.
Nice
So
life.
you've got some owners that are based in California that support you. You know, for instance, Warren Williamson and a few others. Are the Californians are they fairly receptive to racing here in Kentucky?
Yeah, most all of my clients, not quite every one of them, but I'd say, gosh, about 90% of them are still from California that I trained for out there for years or at least a while. And even some of them are guys that I didn't even train for in California that have actually hooked on with me back here, from out there that are hooking in with me back here now. So, yeah, I still got it. My base of my clients are from out there. A lot of them are from the Del Mar area in particular. So that's a big reason that I'll go out there for the summer. Henry Williamson. So Warren passed away a few years ago. Henry, his son, runs Williamson Racing. He has a farm in the San Diego area near Del Mar. Another one of my clients, they run under Kuyasi LLC. That's Joe and Debbie McCloskey. They live in Solana Beach, which is a neighboring town of Del Mar. I have quite a few clients out that way. So
has there been any culture shock living in Kentucky year round, or what's life like now as opposed to when you were in California?
Well, it's a lot different. We bought a small farm here. We live on 9 acres here in Lexington. It's very small as far as Lexington farms are concerned, but it's a lot bigger property than we've ever lived on. We keep about 6 or 7 horses here at home. It's a beautiful little farm. At home in California, we had a beautiful home on the San Francisco Bay. I trained at Golden Gate. I also had an apartment down by Santa Anita. So I was going back and forth between those two places the last few years back out there. This is a new adventure. It's a fun life out here. We love living on our little farm, and we love racing in all these different places. Obviously trying to get better stock to run more at Keeneland and Churchill. And as far as any kind of culture shock, last winter was pretty mild. And this winter, the only thing that I didn't really sign up for was that ice storm. And
you and me both.
The day that I was out there digging out the ice so our gate would open, we put an automatic gate in the front of the property, which is nice, rather than having to get in and out of your truck to open the gate every time. But when what I learned about 3 inches of ice is the gate wouldn't open. So when I was out there digging the ice, I don't mind the snow. I love the snow, actually. When I was digging that ice out from that gate, I kind of had a brief mental breakdown and said, man, this wasn't in the brochure. But other than that, it's been good.
What about the Central Kentucky cuisine? Everything's fried here.
Yeah, plenty of fried. I'm kind of a sucker for fried chicken, so I like that aspect. My wife's an excellent cook, so I'm lucky there. The cuisine's different. I never really. I'll always miss the San Francisco cuisine, but I'm sure we'll be back to visit periodically. So.
All right, Bill. Let's talk about the star of your stable, Hush of a Storm. Like we said, he won a controversial edition of the John Battaglia Stakes. You had to survive a steward's inquiry to make it to the winner's circle. Were you concerned at all about the horse being taken down that night?
Initially from the first time or two that I saw the slow-mo and the replay, and I really wasn't that worried. But obviously, the longer and longer they looked at it, I became more worried, obviously. I mean, anybody would. I still felt pretty confident that it would have been hard to take us down. But, you see a lot of things. I've been taken down in plenty of races in my career. So, I know both sides of that. So to say I was worried some, yes, but I was holding the faith. I was keeping the faith the whole time.
So we're pointing to the Jeff Ruby Stakes on Saturday. Back in the old days, the horses that were based at Turfway, they were kind of throwouts in the big race. I don't think it's the case this year. I think your horse is going to stack up really well in this edition, especially, we know he likes the Tapeta. Bill, can Hush of a Storm compete with these horses on Saturday? And more importantly, can he win the race?
Absolutely. I think we have a huge shot. I don't even know who is all coming. Obviously, we draw tomorrow. Nominations, I kind of give up on looking at nominations when there's something like 63 nominated,
Right.
I'd rather just train my horse and bring his A game and see what comes after him. I don't know who's all coming, but I think we would fit with anybody the way we're going right now.
Are you planning to run anybody else on the big card Saturday?
I'm entering 6 tomorrow for Saturday.
Whoa.
4 of those in stakes, 1 in a maiden special race, and then 1 in a 5,000 claimer extra. But the 4 in the stakes are obviously Hush in the Jeff Ruby, Pico de Oro in the Animal Kingdom. I've got Visitant for the Kentucky Cup Classic. And then we've got a filly named God of War, Queen of God. Queen of God is her name. That she's going to run in the filly and mare 1 mile race. What's that one called?
Latonia.
No.
Brandon has a horse in that race.
Yeah,
You got to scratch out. Go ahead and go to allowance. You can go to Oaklawn for $106,000.
Hey, I don't know who's all going in that race, but my guess would be that my filly, Queen of God, would be, I mean, if she's not 50-1, I mean, she's going to be a huge, huge price.
That make you feel better, Brandon? That make you feel better?
A little bit. I've been waiting to run for months, 2 months, because of Oaklawn and all the weather shutting down. But sorry to jump in. But once you said Philly, I started cringing. I was like, what? He's got one more?
I mean, I'm keeping the faith there too, but I think there'll definitely be other ones in there that you'll be more scared of than me. I would think so.
He has dream a little dream of you, in case you're wondering.
Good. All right.
And we scratched out at Louisiana Derby Day on that 10th race. What was that race called, guys?
Is that the Muniz? The Muniz?
No, it was before that. But because we thought the turf was a little soft, and man, she's raring to go. We are ready.
Whatever their stakes race is, turf stakes is on Louisiana. I can't think of the name of it right now.
For fillies, yeah.
Yeah.
Phillies,
the one that Summer and Saratoga won.
Yeah, Joe Sharp.
Well, it sounds like I need to be scared of you then.
No, well, you're the guest. Come on in. We've been waiting for months. That's all I can say. I'm a little pent up, kind of like the horse.
Well, that's the life of a horse owner sometimes. Horse trainer, horse owner, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Alan, you have any questions for Bill Morey?
Yeah, I got a couple, but first, tell me about that maiden you got going on Saturdays. Any good?
I'm entering a horse in it's a maiden special weight race going a mile, so I would assume it'll go with a full field. And he's been training really well. I'm hoping that, those 12 horse fields are, as you guys have seen throughout this meet, they're difficult in that you sometimes you got to have the best horse and by far the best trip,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you really got to rely on from the post position to the trip you get to the break you get. They're just they're so tough, especially at the maiden special level. I think you're getting a lot of horses that are inexperienced and it's especially tough. His name is Lavender Earl.
Oh, I know the horse.
Yeah, I claimed him 2 outs ago.
From Bradley? Buff Bradley?
I believe so, yeah. It was a sprint race, and then I actually stretched him out off of that race, and he ran what I thought was a good race. He finished third. A horse named Be Here of Jonathan Thomas's won the race, Ghost Zapper horse.
Yes, yeah, very nice horse.
And we ran a decent third in there, so gosh, I'm hoping there's nothing as tough or tougher than that horse Be Here that beat us last time. So
I will say, generally speaking, on the Jeff Ruby Spiral, Jim Beam Day, whatever they called it at the time, those maiden special weights usually come up pretty tougher than the ones ordinarily during the meet. So there may be a couple of decent shooters in there, but I'm sure Lavender Earl has a big chance. But you were mentioning working out a trip in these races. It's so important. And one of the guys you use a lot that I've actually just discovered this meet, who I'm very fond of, is Santiago Gonzalez. If anybody can work out a trip, it's him. How's your relationship been with him? Because I've been impressed with the way he's ridden this meet. And I know he's ridden several winners for you, including the big boy, Hush of a Storm.
Yeah, he's an excellent rider. He rode winners for me in Southern California a few years ago when he was out there and I was out there. You can see that he's really a heady rider. And it's really showing here at this meet. Once again, I'm repeating myself here, but those 12 horse fields, it takes a heady rider and a good trip, and he's showing that he can find that.
Yeah, he really does. I've been very impressed, and of course I've been impressed with another rider, a couple of riders, but Chris Landeros, who we have on this program, he was telling us that you guys know each other from way back on the left coast. He knew you've known him since he was a kid. Can you tell us a little bit what you know about Mr. Landeros? Ironically.
Yeah, so we're both from Bay Meadows area originally, the Peninsula, San Francisco Peninsula area, and he's a few years younger than I. I still like to think I'm a young trainer, but I'm getting a little bit older. So he's a few years younger than I, but I saw him out there when he first started galloping horses and first started riding, and then I know he went to Turf Paradise out there and got going, and he's been to numerous places since. But yeah, we know each other from way back when. His father exercised horses out there and trained out there as well. He's a good horseman as well. So yeah, we know each other from 30 years ago.
Yeah, he speaks very highly of you, Bill. Very, very highly of you. Hush of a Storm. We get back to the big guy real quick. He's had four off the top of my head. He's had 4 starts, three easy wins, including the Battaglia. But that first start, I believe he was it just a run around the track race because he didn't show much his first start, and then I think he aired in a maiden special weight for like 15-1. Did you know he was as good as he is, or was it? Did he surprise you in his second start, or was that the plan all along to just give him a race and then have him blossom the way he has?
I always wanted to stretch him. I knew he'd be a route horse, so I always wanted to stretch him out. Matter of fact, I didn't want to start him in anything 5.5 or 6 furlongs. I waited till they had a 7 furlong maiden race at Churchill, and that race was, in my opinion, was deceptively better than it looks on paper and maybe even on video. But on the live shot, the horse wanted to run some. He was behind horses. He just kind of, first time out, wasn't totally honed. He wasn't training like a horse that would win first out sprinting, and he was just behind horses most of the race and never really got a chance to run. He made a little middle move. I was actually happy with the race myself, and that's why I stretched him out off of that, and we've been lucky.
Were you confident at 15-1 he was going to? Did you have any money on it? Did you know he was going to win that maiden race?
I did like him in there, yeah. I really did, because I've always liked the colt, and I always thought he'd route. And again, that 7/8 race at Churchill, if you saw the live shot of it, it wasn't that bad. He was in trouble.
It was a tough field, as I remember, too. But, of course, all the races out there are pretty tough. But I do recall that race. So I think you got a big shot on Saturday. But I'm sure you think the same way, too. Brandon, would you like to hit Mr. Morey up with a question or two?
Yeah, I noticed you had one working out at Keeneland, and you're shipped to Oaklawn. Final Jeopardy. That's a short field. I just looked it up, and you've got a Warriors Charge in there as a morning line favorite. But I mean, this horse seems to be working out beautifully in the mornings, and seems to be coming off a little bit of time. Can you tell us about him?
He's a nice horse. He's been a little difficult to place because he doesn't have a lot of allowance conditions left, but the owners let me carefully place him, and we picked off a couple allowances up in Ohio with him and kind of got his confidence a little bit. He's been training very well. You can see by the works, they're all real solid, especially lately, especially the last about 3.
Oh, yeah.
He did ship over to he shipped over to Oakland on Sunday morning, and I made it over there safe and sound. Luckily it came up a short field for big money, so we're taking our best shot. Obviously the favorite in there, if he's anywhere close to right, he'll be awfully tough to beat. But as you guys know, as handicappers, they don't always just go how they look on paper. So if for some reason that horse doesn't fire or isn't ready, then, I think it opens. I think the rest of the field, I think we fit pretty good with.
Yeah, this horse at Final Jeopardy's been everywhere. I mean, he has raced everywhere. So, but yeah, I wish you well there, and especially at Keeneland. And God, I'm telling you, to ship to Oaklawn, and I guess it's an allowance of no more than 3 winners, 3 wins in a year, or however that condition's written. It's kind of unique, because it is a tough task when you have a horse like this. Where do you place him? Enlisted state company? Is he ready for that? Or I don't know. That's kind of a really hard job. How do you go about placing your horses, especially like this one?
Well, like I said, this is a horse that we didn't really want to run in claiming levels at this point anyway. So I was able to, luckily the owner is a very good owner, understanding owner, and let me pick off a couple of races in Ohio with them, because he would have been in really deep water at Churchill and Keeneland before those couple of wins. But now with those 2 wins of his last 3 under his belt, maybe he'll jump back into this level at Oaklawn. And the first 107,000 for an allowance at Oaklawn, it's obviously like shipping for a stakes, basically, in my eyes. So and anything can happen out there. Warriors Charge is a very good horse. Once again, if he fires, I think we're all in trouble. But we all know, hey, they don't fire every time. Maybe he needs to race. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. So.
Yeah, so you're looking at all kinds of condition books, it seems like. I mean, when do you start looking to place your horses? Like, I mean, is that a daily job? I guess I've never asked this question of trainers, but do you have help with that too during the mornings or afternoons? How do you do it?
Oh, that's pretty much my job, or the trainer's job, I think, for the most part,
Yeah.
in most stables. But, back here has been a different experience for me. Out west, I was pretty much just running at Golden Gate and Santa Anita, or Golden Gate and Del Mar, whatever was going on out there. But out here, and then that's a pretty long shift in between those two. It's not really like you're going back and forth that much with horses. But out here, I mean, since I've been here, at one point I had a count of it, but I've lost track now. I think I've probably run at about 15 or 16 different tracks since I've been here, and only just almost less than 2 years, year and a half, in maybe 7 or 8 different states. And I've run everywhere from the top tracks like Churchill and Keeneland to Aqueduct to even to the Mountaineers and Mahonings and Arlingtons and everywhere in between. So you can definitely, if you're not afraid to ship around back here, you can definitely find a spot. Once again, you got to have an owner that's willing to do that, and you got to have a horse that's able to do that too. So, but it is kind of fun being able to pick your spots around and trying to really pick the best spot for your horse rather than going a race that you think might be too tough.
Got it. I mean, it's a full-time job, and your condition books on a daily, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you just got more condition books in your pocket here. I'm trying to get away from running, too many out of state. I'm trying to run more strictly in the state of Kentucky if I can. But obviously, they don't all fit in Kentucky, so you got to make plans with some of them to run elsewhere.
Right.
Hey, Bill, we're actually overlooking one of the more obvious questions, and so I'm going to ask it. If Hush of a Storm, by my math, if he runs well on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, if he runs third, he'd be eligible for the Kentucky Derby. Is that a plan? Is that a long-term plan, or is it, since the dirt? Is it too early to say that?
Well, obviously we're considering it depending on how he runs Saturday. Obviously if he wins, the points it's pretty much a win and you're in race the way the points are. Our second or third finish, I guess we might still be eligible. I'm not even sure.
I think you would if you got third. I think you would if you got third.
It might even depend. So it's definitely under consideration. He'd have to run awfully well Saturday to go, but if he does, we'd definitely consider going.
That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. Make sure you come back and talk to us about it if you decide to get in the starting gate, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Bill, we'll wrap it up here. First of all, we just want to congratulate you on a great meet at Turfway. All 3 of us have been following you all meet, and we've cashed a lot of tickets on you. We wish you well going to Keeneland, and obviously we wish you well for a big Saturday at Turfway, and hopefully a win the Jeff Ruby Stakes.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, that was Bill Morey, and we wish him luck with Hush of a Storm in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Alan, big weekend for Mr. Jaggers. He's got a little dream of you in the Latonia Stakes. Now, we're recording this before the draw, but we wish him the best of luck indeed.
Indeed. We've had first off, we're going to thank Chris Landeros and Bill Morey. Wish them the best of luck once again. We can't say enough about them. They were great guests, and they're both sitting on potential powder kegs this weekend. So, there's every point on the line. It's a big deal for their connections this week. The Jeff Ruby should not be overlooked. I know we're not going to overlook it. And it may not get overshadowed by the Florida Derby, but not on this podcast. And we wish Chris Landeros, Bill Morey, and, of course, Brandon Jaggers and the connections of Dream a Little Dream of You the best of luck in the Latonia on Saturday. And that horse has a big, big chance. We're not just saying that because Brandon's our buddy either.
So we'll put a bow on this one. Like you said, we want to thank Chris and Bill Morey for joining us, and just want to remind everybody that now we have a YouTube channel. So we would invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and
just like us. We just want to be loved.
Just like us in general. Yeah, exactly right. So we need all the love we can get. But we thank you for joining us, and for those of you at home and around the country and listening wherever you are, we want to remind you that gambling money ain't got no home.